Yes. This is the BumCast. I am your host, HBIC, the head bum in charge, along with Whiskey Bologna,
Hello.
Southside Bum, Dougie Freshness. And guys, to quote Cody Rhodes, what do you guys want to talk about?
Ah, damn. I text shout out Matt Zawoski, shout out Father Zoe. He had a very nice promo. He did his classic driving promo, promoted us. So we appreciate that. I texted him to thank him for that. He didn't have to do that, but he did. And I told him, I'm almost overwhelmed with how much we have to talk about. I got home from work and just started
nuts.
clipping videos, just started writing things down. It's too much, man. Take it easy one time for me, White Sox.
It's I said this the other night. We were fully prepared to do full Bears training camp talk, diving, all that. We thought we were done with the Sox after the trade deadline. We were going to obviously mention Berger being traded, but we didn't think there was going to be that much Sox talk. And then the weekend happened, and like Al Pacino and The Godfather, they pull me back in. And it's we might go, like Peter, you said it, we might go 2 hours tonight because there is so much to talk about. We are going to be talking the Berger trade, the TA fight. We're going to be breaking that down, almost minute by minute or second by second there. And we're going to be talking Middleton, Lance Lynn, Yaz, TA again, Grafal, Rick Hahn,
All of it.
like all of it, man. And maybe we'll talk some Bears. We do have a couple nonsense things and questions of the week, but I think a good majority of this is going to be spent on the shit show that is the White Sox and the weekend and the national embarrassment all over again, as if we weren't shitty enough. But before we get into that, how was your weekend, gents?
I enjoyed myself. So we're going to talk about how we watched the TA fight. But spoiler alert, 3 out of the 4 of us hung out on Saturday. Still kind of reeling from it. We're a little bit tired.
I'm actually drinking tonight.
I mean, we have to. We got to be on brand. Speaking of on brand, before we get started, you two look like a couple of NASCAR drivers. What happened to no free ads on this show? We better get a Milwaukee sponsorship, a couple Harley Davidsons, something, because you guys look like walking billboards right now.
I'm actually going up to Wisconsin tomorrow, so maybe I'll pass by Harley Davidson or.
That's right. You have
you
have to go up to Green Bay, Johnny.
Yes, in a couple for a few days. So,
I'm not saying don't do anything, but maybe if you want to do a little vandalism to Lambeau Field, that would be some good viral content. Because apparently all the Green Bay fans like chipping at us over the weekend for some stadium pictures. If you saw that.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, there's not really much I could do concerning the fact that the company I work for owns a majority of the Green Bay Packers. So,
okay, so don't do anything like that.
Yeah,
like,
I respect. I respect. So,
so yeah, I'm drinking a little bit tonight. I actually just cracked the Stag Batch 23A. I did a little quick.
What are you doing, man? Time out.
Bum of the week.
Flag on the play.
Listen.
No
I have
whiskey,
to give
no other whiskey from now on until we sell all these motherfucking bottles.
So we'll talk about let's talk about our brand new bottle. But yes, CD Liquors hooked me up with the Stag, so I had to do a quick little poppin' bottle short. Talk about the bottle. But if I want to keep getting good, good stuff, I got to give them shout outs as well. So, but guys, our brand new Knob Creek Single Barrel Select, courtesy in collaboration with CD Liquors. It's out now. Thank you for everyone who's bought one so far. We appreciate it. We're in the process of delivering them. I'll be at the game on Friday. If you're going, you can pick up your bottle as well. But I tweet out the picture on Saturday of the initial inventory that was there and what was left, and it's about half gone already. And that was a span of 4 days. So if you haven't gotten one, I highly recommend you get it. It's a very, very good port. And if you already have one, buy another backup, because once it's gone, it's gone. And you're going to be, once you kill that final little bit of that bottle you got, you're going to be upset if you don't have a backup bottle.
That's true. You got to have a couple 2-3 on hand. For people asking if we ship, we cannot ship, but hit my DMs. I might be able to ship some olive oil or cooking oil in the mail. So we cannot but we might be able to ship other things. So hit up the DMs.
Drew, I
loves
saw
how-
you are coming to Whiskey at Comiskey on 26th. Send me some money. Venmo me some money. I'll pick you up a bottle and I'll bring it on the 26th. Because I know I'm already going to be bringing some bottles on the 26th for people who I'm not going to see until Whiskey Comiskey. So shoot me a DM. I'll get you taken care of for that. So you don't have to worry about it.
Well, here we go. Here we go with this guy. By the way, I mentioned my DMs are open. I got somebody's address if anybody wants to hit me up. It's for sale.
Yeah, the mob will be definitely running up that place pretty quickly. And
but anyway, speaking of drinking, I mean, we need a good high proof, 120 proof bourbon after this weekend, right? You might need a couple bottles to drink after this weekend because it's like you mentioned, it's a dumpster fire.
Yeah. So Johnny wasn't able to join us on Saturday, but the three of us got together at Peter's house. We watched a lot of fights, literally and figuratively. There was SummerSlam. There was the Logan Paul, Nate Diaz fight. So we were kind of planning the next month and a half of content of BumCast and everything. So I will give you guys one announcement right now. Join us in 2 weeks, the 21st. August 21st, our fantasy football spectacular is going to be back. We got John Dabari coming back. We'll be taking all your fantasy football submissions, live questions, who you think you should draft and all that stuff. So join us on 21st for all things fantasy. And got some other stuff in the pipeline, but we're not going to reveal that just yet. But we will announce the fantasy football show. We have that confirmed and on the books in 2 weeks. So that was that. But we got some good content ideas coming out, and I don't spoil it right now, but it was a good drinking fest until it wasn't.
I mean, all right. So I came out of the bathroom. Usually a peek behind the curtain. Jason, between all four of us, basically, but me and you specifically, we watch a lot of White Sox baseball. And if we're not together watching wrestling, we're watching and we're texting each other. Did you see this? You'll send me a video to clip and I'll post it, or I'll send you a tweet to post and you'll quote tweet it, and we go back and forth. It's just flat out bad luck. We didn't have the game on, and I'm walking out of the bathroom and I see Father Zoe's tweet of, "Did TA slip or did he get rocked?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, what happened?" And immediately I go into the dining room where we're all hanging out, and it's like, get on the internet. We got to figure out what happened. And by that point, it was like 5 minutes too late. But it's like, holy shit. Of all the games we weren't watching, that was it. So we caught up real quick. And it was, it's a fall from grace from TA, right? Like, I've seen a lot of tweets about, well, I've seen like, oh, it's obvious you've never been in a fight if like you're making fun of him getting knocked out. And then he got caught. Like, it was a lucky swing. It happens. If you put up, bar fights, I've been in a bunch of Sunday league soccer fights that go exactly like that. Like if I'm in Douglas Park playing soccer, this was probably 10 years ago at that point, there's a lot of pissed off landscapers and roofers and carpenters that basically want to fight instead of play soccer. I've seen that type of fight week in and week out. It happens. You don't see it in baseball. And that was my first point is it's almost once every 3-4 years, right? When was the last time they fought like this? Like I think maybe Joey Batista and Roughneck Odor, who Roughneck Odor could throw some hands too. Speaking of which, Elvis Andrew was in both of these fights, just kind of like he might be like the Loki of Major League Baseball. Like he just gets into mischief wherever he goes.
Don King.
But yeah, that was my first point is like this shit happens. It just so happens that it happened to TA and he's had a rough year and a half, and this just further cements the White Sox like dumpster fire. What were your first thoughts?
So you guys want to start with this, or you want to just go timeline for the week? Because let's just start with TA. Okay, we'll talk the rest of the nonsense later on. Okay, so my first thought is I regret watching SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And, usually you guys come to my house because we drink the bourbon. We go in the bum cave. You said, hey, come by us. I got the fire stick for the Logan Paul fight so we can watch the fight too. And I was like, yeah, definitely not, paying for that fucking nonsense. You're bringing the Fire Stick to my house next time, Peter, so we can have TV 2 going.
The two TV setup. The TV setup would have been huge.
We needed that. Of all days, we needed the 2 TV setup was on Saturday. So we caught in on the second brawl, the one that was like caught on the by the pitcher's mound and everything. We completely missed the knockout and everything like that. So let's break this down, guys. Let's go. Let's be Mystery Science Theater 3000. Let's watch it on the big screen, and we'll break it down. So Peter, you went through. You got the videos. Let's talk about it. And I'm sure you guys have seen the YouTube and the Twitter clips left and right, but we're still gonna show you again. So
here we go. First one is just the fight, and it's called by NBC Chicago.
Oscar's throw is not in time.
He just missed him at second base. This is another rocket of a throw, and now...
Oh, boy.
Now
oh, my goodness. Here come the benches. Off we go. It started with Anderson and Ramirez. Swings being taken.
Okay. So my first thought was, we don't know what was said between them. It looked like he tagged him. And I think Ramirez said that he tagged him too. But they've had beef. They've always been jawing at each other for the past 2 years. So obviously there's some animosity between them already. Whatever he said, and TA just dropped his glove, decided, all right, put him up. Let's fucking go. And it was like good UFC. But then I saw the one boxer broke it down where he went in southpaw.
He went in southpaw.
Yeah.
But he shouldn't have went in south. So like he made a first mistake right there. Maybe TA pays for some boxing lessons going forward. Now, I appreciate Tim Anderson being the only one who actually shows some fucking
fight,
like spark and fight in this team when this is a fucking shit show season. And maybe them being shitty as enough as it is, and them trading people away, he's been on edge more. And maybe a little something set him off. Who knows? No one knows what we really said. But either way, I like him being the only, after seeing all the other shit that went down with Yaz and Middleton and all those other comments that came out, which we're going to talk about in a bit. It's nice that he actually had some fight, even though he got knocked the fuck out. You got knocked the fuck out, man.
Yeah, I've come around like full circle on TA. It's been, like I said, a rough year and a half. But the more I look at this team, the more we watch this team, he might be the only motherfucker that gives a fuck. Maybe he gives a fuck too much, and he's trying too hard, and he's pressing too hard, and he's got outside influences, and now this was the last straw. But like you said, we don't know what happened. I saw an interview in Spanish with Jose Ramirez saying that TA has a history of tagging people hard, and he said he wanted to protect the younger players on his team, but it's a rivalry, man. It's Cleveland, it's the White Sox. This shit happens. I think a lot of it also had to do with Ramirez while getting up, kind of hits the back of TA's leg and then gets up and starts pointing the finger. Once you start pointing fingers in people's faces, it's like a hockey fight. Like he mentioned him.
Maybe he even threw in like pal in Spanish, like, hey, pal.
Yeah, you paled him. We don't know. If you threw a pal, like we talked about, it's
a Spanish pal and a finger. I'd throw hands too, man. You don't pal me in my face with the finger. So TA gets knocked down, and maybe it was just he got lucky. Ramirez got lucky. The bench is clear. You got people to your left, your right. You lose maybe some peripheral vision. You catch one in the side of the head. He goes down. But where it gets bad though is when I don't know if you saw the pictures too of him trying to get up afterwards, and he was just fucking noodle. Like he got put to sleep, man. That was UFC knockout, man.
We talk about TA spaghetti. He was on spaghetti legs.
Yeah.
It was like a UFC knockout. People in the comments are like breaking down. He left his left wide open. I mean, yeah, he threw two good punches and then left his whole face wide open where they teach. I mean, I think, Johnny, we've all gotten in a couple scraps here or there. Like, you got to either keep your head up or you got to tuck your chin in. He didn't either.
And you always got to tuck the chin. Always got
hit on the button. Then the button happens. It happens. But yeah, the noodle legs was a tough look. And then the other tough look, while this was all happening to TA, was once they get separated, I have the video of possibly the shortest guy on the team trying to carry him off into the dugout.
And there is Andrew Vaughn, who lifts Tim off the ground and makes sure that even though Tim is trying to get out of the grasp of Andrew Vaughn, that he can't.
I mean, that's a tough scene. You got carried out like a toddler.
So there was comments in today's press conferences from all the bullshit, which we'll break in a little bit, but about the Sox not having a leader in the clubhouse and the culture in this. And then there was a tweet that's saying, well, Andrew Vaughn carrying TA shows that he's a leader. No, that's just being a good homie and carrying your boy off the field. So one, he doesn't get knocked the fuck out even more. And two, he was already fucking spaghetti legged and he couldn't really fucking walk. So that's not, I don't really call that being a good leader. It's just looking out for your homie. Like anyone who's been in a fight and knows when your buddy's beat.
Yeah.
You
gotta get him out.
Hold him back.
Gotta get him out.
Hold him back. You carry him out, man. You know, he threw in the towel for Tim Anderson. He fucking, rocketed him and said, "You're done."
Yeah, I saw that, and I had that. I'm glad you asked that, Jason. I'll ask Johnny and Dougie, because his on the field play this year has left a lot to be desired. Do you think Andrew Vaughn can be a leader of this team?
I don't think so. You got to lead by example, and right now he's not leading any example. I mean, yeah, it was cool that he, carried his dude off and everything like that, but I do the same thing to my son when he's got a poop diaper. I carry him like that the same way. Sometimes you just got to get the man where he needs to go.
Point A to point B.
Yeah.
Johnny,
is he a leader?
No, I mean, he might be. I don't think he has that in him. I think he could probably lead some sort of way by example, but I don't think he's that verbal type of player that will go and just say like, hey, like he could calm a clubhouse down, or he could lead by example in different ways. I just don't think so. I think he's just more of a role player than anything currently right now. I mean, he's still young as well too. Maybe down the road he might be, but I mean, I don't even see Robert being a leader in the clubhouse as well too. And he's your best player in that clubhouse. You're going to need people in that clubhouse. If you're going to change the dynamic of this team, you're going to need people like that. And obviously we were kind of hinting about other things that we've talked about as far as being a leader in the clubhouse. And, Peter, you mentioned is that there's a lot of people in the media, people on White Sox Twitter, everywhere who's been pretty much bashing Anderson all this year on his play, just everything about it. And obviously once he got into this fight, maybe some people's minds have changed about it. I'm not quite sure, but overall, I just think that Anderson, he showed that grit. He showed that, hey man, even though that we're fucking like 20 games under 500 or whatever we're currently at right now, you're still gonna fight. You're gonna still do what you can do to roll up a team, regardless. I mean, they took 2 out of 3 of the Cleveland, of Cleveland right now, and nobody talks about that because we're overshadowing about all the shit that's been going on in the clubhouse and the organization. That's bad. I mean, that's fucking terrible when we're still talking about this, and this team is fucking terrible right now. Like that's definitely bad. But like I said, I just think there's just TA. I don't know how much longer we're going to have TA, but he has been very vocal, especially with a lot of players who, if somebody doesn't play a certain day, he calls somebody out. So, I don't know, man. Like as far as going back to the whole of Andrew Vaughn, if he's a leader, he's not. We definitely need leaders on this team. I mean, we're going to have to find it elsewhere, but that's a whole different story or topic. I just don't think he will be anytime soon.
Yeah. I mean, Pito was the leader of the team, then he left. And as much you said about Lubob, I think a lot of the language barrier, doesn't, prohibits him from being like a true locker room leader. And we don't really know what goes on in the clubhouse, right? I mean, we don't know what Tim Anderson says, what he doesn't say, how much of a vocal leader he is, how much of a sheriff he is, and maybe he hasn't stepped into that role yet since Pito left. We don't know, but he said we don't know exactly how long he's going to be here. Are they going to pick up the option? I'm saying they are going to pick up the option because he doesn't really have high trade value right now. So I mean, you're not going to get anything for him. If you were going to trade him, end of last season was probably the best time to do it. But you just got to hope that he has a bounce back season next year, doesn't have like the errors that he's had, and just comes back to where he was winning batting titles. So and then you can trade him at the trade deadline.
He's shown flashes the last like 2.5 weeks or so. Yes. He's been playing a lot better post All-Star break. Still not at the level we're used to from Tim Anderson, but I agree with you. I think he's going to be on the club this next year. The option is what, 14 million. 14 million is, pennies for a TA type caliber player. I'm not saying this current iteration of TA, but the previous iteration of TA, 14 million is pennies.
Right.
So I think he will be on the team next year. And like you said, if he comes back up, maybe you trade him next offseason. You never know, man. We could be talking about TA extension by the end of next year, depending on who the hell is running the club, which we're going to talk about later.
That's true. Zoe says the shortstop market is shit this year. And yeah, if you got all it takes is one person who needs to be desperate to overpay or bank or trade off of his history. That's all you need. You got all 20 other clubs, so all you need is one person to just give you the offer you want. All right, so going further into the fight, Peter, the next video you have for us.
I mean,
one.
Go ahead.
No, it was the band baby, Eloy. Now play it.
God damn it, Eloy.
Oh, did we click on the same time?
What are we doing?
Looked like somebody stepped on it.
Only par for the course.
Yeah, only Eloy would get into a melee and walk out hobbling and limping with his little fucking baby legs. Like, what are you doing, dude? I mean, if you took some cleats right in the right spot, understand it. But it's just such a bad look, giving his leg history that in any type of kerfuffle, he comes out with a limp or a gimp or something.
That's the
a
thing.
big word.
Kerfuffle. If that happens during like a random play where he's running into second and he gets stepped on or third or whatever, and he hobbles off like, he's like a hurt deer. Yeah, I understand it. It's during the run of play. During a fight, you can't show any pain. Your guys are scrapping, man, and you get stepped on a little bit, and now all of a sudden you got a boo-boo? Come on, man. You got to have some fight etiquette, right?
So here's my theory on the whole thing. My thoughts are maybe he knows that he can't take a punch. He's already watched one dude get folded. So he's like, fuck this. I'm hobbling out of here. And nobody would debate it because they're like, you know what? This motherfucker gets hurt all the time. It was just par for the course. He's like, I ain't taking one to the face.
Dougie, that's a great point. He catches that hands from Ramirez. He might be out for 1.5 years. That's a good point, Dougie. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it looked like it was nothing serious. There hasn't been any reports of him being injured, but I mean, goddamn, just the optics on that fucking Eloy. And then next thing you know, we can see Moncada just walking out, like grabbing his back or something too. Yeah.
I'm catching strays like Eloy here. What the hell?
All right. So Peter, you also got some memes as well.
I got some memes. I mean, I said it in the pre-show promo. I mean, TA is getting memed to death, and it's by everyone on the internet, including SportsCenter, who broke this down like it was like a fight night. Anderson Ramirez, 6'1" to 5'9", weight 185 to 190. 2 jabs by Anderson, 1 power punch by Ramirez, and he wins the fight. Pretty even. If you're looking at this from like a UFC boxing perspective, this is a pretty even fight. People are saying like, oh, like Ramirez is much bigger, like weight wise. I'm like, no, like they're pretty much the same size.
But isn't that a different weight class though, technically?
No, 185, 190. You know, like when it would be 185, but during fight night, people get to 185, and then by the end of the night, you know, you bulk up.
But he didn't cut his
all water
5
weight.
pounds. So
We don't
didn't
know.
cut his 5 pounds, so he has to give up half of his purse to TA for that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Half of his salary.
See,
Yeah.
you know what? The first time I saw this picture, it was very encouraging to me because I was like, you know what? I'm 5'9" too, and my face looks just as fat as Ramirez's. And I'm like, you know what? If I was just 2 more inches taller, I would have a slim face, but I don't. So it is what it is. I was very, very happy with this.
The beard is slimming.
The beard is slimming, yes.
Also, this tail of the tape is bullshit, right? I mean, Ramirez being 190 is much like Andrew Vaughn being 6 foot. No one's believing it.
If you've seen him walking around, that's at least 220 right there.
There you go.
Yeah.
The next one, obviously, the same thing. It was all over Instagram. The boxing gloves. If you guys heard, like Terry Francona was having a field day on Sunday during the interview. He was saying, like, he was trying to be very PC about it, and he's like, "Well, it's not funny. I don't want to say it's funny, but it's pretty funny." It's like he didn't give a fuck. Like the fact that he put him on Sunday as a designated hitter, I'm sure he got a chuckle out of that. Like, oh, no pun intended.
Yeah.
The Jordan meme is tough. I mean,
Yeah.
I saw this all over the place. Jake Paul. We watched the Jake Paul fight. We saw both of these guys won their fight on Saturday. Both questionable at best, but they both won.
Hold on a second. With the Jake Paul, I really hope that his next fight isn't against an old MMA fighter. I want him like fighting like a boxer in his prime. Not the Mayweather, shit or anything like that. Not 38, 40 something year old ex UFC guys and stuff like that. I want him to fight a legit boxer.
There's too much money to be made for that to happen.
Yeah.
He's in these bozos.
But Nate Diaz should have won that fight though.
If it goes 20 rounds, maybe. Diaz is like a marathon runner, he doesn't give up. He's like the T1000, the guy.
Just keeps coming.
Just keeps coming. And then the last one of these bozos, the Lake County Captains, having a Jose Ramirez Appreciation Week. All fans named Tim get a free ticket to sit down in the grass, wear your Ramirez jersey, and get a free Bam Bam cargo hold, or get a free Bam Bam.
Whatever, who knows?
What the hell is a Bam Bam?
Probably a drink or something.
Home run punch derby, and a punch out competition. Whatever. These guys, I mean, it's classic minor league teams trying to do whatever they can to get people in the door. But I saw this floating around.
I wanted to go back to the whole Ramirez and the boxing glove thing.
All right, I could go back to it, no problem.
And no, I mean, everybody's seen it out, all over the internet, stuff like that. And everybody's naming him like he's a fucking boxer, like he should be going to go boxing events and stuff like that. It was a lucky fucking punch, man. Like that's all it was. He wasn't even seeing where the fuck he was going. He was kind of going like this. His eyes were closed, man. Like that's my thing. Another thing too. Yes. Did Tim Anderson get rocked? Of course he did. And then that's everything that everybody's going to say for the rest of like Anderson's career and beyond. They do the exact same thing with Barrett and AJ Brzezinski when they do that whole segment where anytime the Cubs and the White Sox
and Nolan and Ventura.
And it keeps on continuing. It's going to be a thing. I was listening to AJ on ESPN Radio 1000, and he was saying that too, that people come up to him and they'll have pictures of that particular punch coming up to him and asking for autographs for that. He says it never will it will be there for eternity until until he passes away. So that's going to be the same thing that Tim Anderson is going to see for the rest of his career and beyond. But let's not crown fucking Ramirez like he's a fucking boxer or anything like that. It was a lucky fucking punch, man. So this stuff that Cleveland puts out or whoever else or Terry Francona or everything like that, you guys, again, I did a rant with Cleveland a very long time ago when it was that playoff series. I'm going to do it again. fuck these guys, man, because it's not like again, if it was something like Ardora versus Batista, and Ardora had that fucking badass punch that got to Batista square in the face, and he saw that. Ramirez didn't. He was, again, it was like that whole like Lisa Simpson versus Bart Simpson. They were kind of like, well, if I go this way, and if I'm like, come on, man, don't. I don't know. To me, I just think like they overblown the whole punch and everything like that, as far as like him like being this like awesome like fighter or anything like that to me.
So before we wrap up the TA stuff, he went and he got his 6-game suspension, and people were saying, why was his suspension more than Ramirez? Because he's already suspended 5 other times for conduct and everything and getting in altercations. So they're just going to give him higher suspensions at this rate. But he broke his silence, and he was doing some very cryptic tweeting today, and people are like trying to, decipher it and everything. Look, if that was me, I would have been like, fucking Duke caught me. Good for him. Just fucking own it and move on. Don't do the cryptic tweets or any of that shit. Just say, yep, he caught me. Fucking good for him. But you know what? We beat him 2 games out of 3.
Tim Anderson on Twitter is about as terrible as they go. He gets in his feelings, and he gets into the Twitter fingers. And then, like you mentioned, cryptic. His tweets are about as cryptic as like Aleister Black promos in wrestling. Like, you don't understand what the fuck they're talking about, and people are just like dissecting them left and right. Like, oh, maybe this is an Easter egg about this, and this is an Easter egg about that. No, this isn't the Avengers, motherfucker. This guy just in his feelings typing out nonsense. So it's like, I wish he almost didn't have a Twitter. Like, stick to the pictures on Instagram of your family and your brand and your products and stuff like that. Twitter ain't for you, TA. Boxing ain't for you, and Twitter ain't for you, TA. Please stop it.
Yep. And then we'll wrap it up with this lovely video.
That hurt!
I mean, it's tough, man. He got memed to death. What can we say?
You got memed to death. That's what I'm saying. When you become a meme, you just got to own it and say, "Yep, I got caught," and that's it. All right. So then, guys, the drama continued. So we had a TA fight, and then the Kenyan Middleton comments come out, and I'm just gonna read real quick here. Article dropped late last night. ESPN, Jesse Rogers, just if there was any type of equivalent to a Woj bomb for a Rogers bomb, this was probably as good as it gets. So Middleton, who was dealt to the Yankees at the trade deadline, basically said, "We came in with no rules. I don't know how you police the culture if there are no rules or guidelines to follow, because everyone is doing their own thing. Like, how do you say anything about it because there are no rules? You have rookies sleeping in the bullpen during the game. You have guys missing meetings. You have guys missing pitcher fielding practices, and there are no consequences for any of this stuff." And that was basically us, or everything that we assumed and we heard about was basically confirmed by Middleton, who's just he's a reliever. He had his cup of coffee here, for half a season, and he just started giving the dirt, giving the tea, man. And I loved it. And then after that, you get Lance Lynn with this little piece of information.
Lance, did you see what Kenyan Middleton said when he got traded?
I did see what popped up yesterday. Yes.
Do you have any thoughts on that, possibly?
I could say this. I can tell you what Key was wrong about.
Okay.
We're ready.
I get it. You don't get it.
Nothing. He was wrong about nothing.
The inmates are running the asylum. It's like it's another Simpsons quote when the Simpsons recreated Lord of the Flies, and it's just basically kids going crazy. That's what this clubhouse is. That's what we thought it was. We all had the reports. Even last week, I talked about someone during Whiskey at Comiskey told me a story that, you know, their cousin's friend that works here and there found out about like dissension in the clubhouse. And I was like, yeah, that all makes sense. It's all conjecture or like hearsay and rumors, but the rumors are true. The product on the field shows how much of a shit show the behind the scenes stuff is. So I want to know who's sleeping in the dugout. Which rookie is sleeping in the dugout? Which
it's probably Santos.
Which player is missing meetings? And then this all goes back to the front office. It's an indictment from the top down. It's the top of the organization is flawed. Everything else trickles. It's the waterfall effect. It's the domino effect. You know, when the bozos in the front office can't get their shit together, what makes you think they're going to hire Pedro Grifol and he get his shit together? And then all of the roster construction and the roster, they get their shit together. You have to burn it all to the ground. And I'm happy for Kenyan Middleton. I'm happy for Jesse Rogers. Shout out Jesse Rogers.
Yeah, I want to play this video clip real quick because he went on this morning. He went on this morning and he actually named more names. So here, before you.
But you know, it's the ones you know. Grandal is no friend to the pitchers. Moncada is no hard worker who is there for his team or his teammates. It's the guys you know. Eloy is kind of happy-go-lucky, but really isn't the hard worker, at least according to people that I talk to. So shipping out those players would be a start, right?
Jesse Rogers has been a reporter in this town for a long time. He was awesome when he basically covered all of the Blackhawks Cup run, the 3 championships, everything about the Blackhawks. He did a great work for ESPN 1000 there. He moved over to baseball. He's done both Cubs and Sox. Credit to him because he's one of the only guys that are asking the tough questions and blowing this up. And now, once this happens, then the other reporters kind of get the balls or kind of get the, you know, like the gumption to share their stories. Because then we saw the Shane Reardon thing, whether or not it's true about Yaz and TA fighting and getting slapped in the cold tub, whether that's true or not, at least he had the balls to say it after the Jesse Rogers thing. You know, granted, the story is almost a month old now because it happened before the All-Star break. But we need more of this. We need everyone to come out and share stories because that's the only way change is going to happen. We need Jerry to get embarrassed to the point of no return. We need people yelling, sell the team, wear your clown shirts. And we need reporters asking Grifol and Hahn tough questions. We need to get them embarrassed to the point where change happens because that's the only way all of this circus is going to change.
Right.
Hold on. I just think one thing too is that, like I said, I've been listening to sports radio all day today about this whole thing. And one of the things that I you know, they did this whole media scrum with Rick Hahn, and Jerry didn't want to talk about anything whatsoever. Obviously, this is Jerry, classic Jerry. I was listening to, again, I mentioned it before. AJ was on with ESPN Radio 1000 with the guys late afternoon and with Mark Silverman and Waddle. He was saying that Jerry cares. Jerry does care about the team. He does care about all this stuff. He does see all the stuff that's going on and whatnot. But like, to me, like, he may seem that way to you, but to us, it's not looking like he gives a shit. And the fact that all this shit's been going on with it's not even like, I think I saw John mention as well too. The Cubs are doing incredible right now. Not to like put the Cubs out here because we talk a bunch of Sox. Again, follow bums in the bleachers here. But the thing is that the Cubs are doing good and the Sox are overtaking this whole story, not because they're doing terrible, not because they're doing great. It's because this old shit again with this organization. If Jerry had any balls whatsoever, he would come out and actually talk about all this shit, all this mess that's going around and say, hey, I hear you. I want to change things around. Like, say something. Just say no. Stop saying no comment because it doesn't make us seem that you give a shit. And that's the thing that everybody gets fucking pissed off about. That's why we do these shirts with the, you know, with the clown nose and everything like that. That's why people are paying so much money on GoFundMe to put up signs saying, sell the team, Jerry. if you fucking care, if you truly care, say something. Just say anything. Just show us that you fucking give a shit. Because it's gonna get to a point the Sox fans are gonna get so fed up that they're gonna get tired of this shit. We're already fed up as it is right now. And the fact that you're just hiding behind a wall and just letting Han just say these little like lawyer like isms every single, back and forth, it's not helping us, feel like you give a shit. Like that's the thing that frustrates me at this is that I hear that he cares. It doesn't seem like you do.
Yeah. So with Han, with the press conference today, he addressed the TA, situation in his own way. But then when they asked him about Middleton, he basically said, well, when he was traded, he apologized to me for being unprofessional, which I 100% believe never happened. Like, what did he do during the season that was unprofessional? Does that story come out? Is it something just happened in the clubhouse? But it's always the White Sox way of when negative shit happens that reflects on the team, they never accept accountability, and it's always they deflect. It's always blaming someone. So it wasn't Middleton speaking the truth about being Wild West in the clubhouse and no rules and sleeping. It was, oh yeah, he apologized for being unprofessional while I was here. So maybe you shouldn't take what he was saying. Take what he was saying with a grain of salt. I mean, fucking Han, man. Like I can't fucking stand listening to that guy anymore. And he's always said that if I'm not the guy to lead this team, I'll be the first to step down. You should be already stepping down. Why haven't you stepped down, dude? Fucking practice what you preach, motherfucker. Like, you've had basically one winning season since you've been here, and you're going to say, like, well, I'm still the guy that get it done. No, you haven't been able to get it done. And it's about time that after the season, he needs to fucking officially either, if he doesn't get fired, he needs to be a man and fucking walk away.
It has to happen. It has to happen. I listened to the presser just like you did, Jason. The fact that he intimated, basically saying like, well, me and Pedro have been telling you that there's been a problem with the culture for the last like 6 weeks, or before the All-Star break, we hinted that there's a problem with the culture, and that's why we did the moves that we did during the trade deadline. Like, motherfucker, you're just indicting yourself. You're in charge of the culture. You and Pedro Grifol are in charge of this. No one else. Don't blame the players. Don't blame Kenyan Middleton for speaking out. It's a Rick Hahn problem. It's a Pedro Grifol problem, and it's a Jerry problem. Like,
yeah,
the fact that it's just like you mentioned, just deflecting and blaming other people when he's been the issue for the last 10 years is batshit crazy. So now, if this isn't the catalyst for change, I don't know what will. Maybe nothing will. You can't have this type of an embarrassment where the only news we ever get on ESPN or on MLB Network or all of the national headlines is when people are making fun of us. You know, we talked about it earlier in the season when the Dodgers, basically the Dodgers announcers basically made fun of us for an inning and a half. And now ESPN's running with it, and it's funny. And Major League Baseball is talking about the circus that it is. It's never positive news. It's never like, oh, maybe one little shining bright star of Luis Robert in the home run derby that lasted all of 45 minutes. Like, that's the highlight of our season. Was I was happy for about an hour.
Yeah. And then when Grifol gets on and does his interview, he talked. I listened to his comments, and I was trying to find a video where I could clip of him. But I couldn't, unfortunately. But I actually heard it on the radio. He must have mentioned the word culture no less than 72 times in his. It was like listening to Vince Russo say "bro" every other word. He kept on talking about culture, this culture, that. Your culture fucking sucks, bro. I actually went back, and Jay Kuda had a tweet earlier about his comments that he made on his opening when he got hired at his hiring press conference, and how he was going to change the culture, and guys weren't going to play out of position, and guys were going to be held accountable, and blah, blah, blah. And none of that shit has fucking happened at all. And then he goes on and says, well, the leaders who I thought were leaders aren't really the leaders, so we had to make changes. Motherfucker, You're the leader. You are the motherfucking leader. If the guys that you think are going to be like the captains, the clubhouse leaders aren't getting it done, you need to step in and fucking take charge. You can't just be like, well, they didn't really do what I expected them, so we're going to trade them, but we're not really going to make changes. We're just going to hope that maybe the next guys are going to be better leaders than the leaders that I thought. And it's all leader culture, bullshit. This guy needs to be fucking gone after the season, guys. And if he isn't, there's going to be a lot of fucking angry, rioting Sox fans.
Yeah, I think it has to be a one-and-done season for Pedro. I think the writing's on the wall. If Rick Hahn wants to keep his job, ultimately, the hiring was his fault. But the easy way to be like keep your job is to blame someone else. And we see this all the time with Jerry. Someone needs to be the scapegoat. And maybe this year it's Pedro Grifol. Now, who they hire, who knows, because it's still going to be Rick Hahn. Hopefully not. But yeah, at least for this season, he's shown. At the beginning of the season, I said, like, between injuries and him it being his rookie year and, everything else, you had to give him more rope. The rope's gone. The rope's cut. Pedro needs to be gone.
Yeah,
I will say
100%.
I will say another thing as well too, as far as like the organization's concerned. I mean, look at the way that all these players are coming out. Even like when Dallas Keuchel got traded or whatnot, he was talking about the organization. Everybody thought he was crying wolf and all that. And sure enough, look at all the shit that's been coming out with other players. If you've seen what they did to Frank Thomas as well too, Frank Thomas is one of the best White Sox hitters of all time. And the way that they treated him once, they were like, hey, sorry, see you later, bye. Like, and Jerry didn't even like reach out to him. And he thought that he was like, man, Jerry didn't even reach out to me. I thought that we were, good friends and whatnot. And they just kind of like kicked them out of the curb. That's one of the White Sox best hitters. And they treat him like that. If you're a free agent going into next season, forget about, let's just say Rick Hahn, forget about everybody else. If you're a free agent, you think you want to come to this shit show, regardless of how many money is thrown at you. Like the organization, not only from the White Sox, but there's people from the Bulls organization that were saying how much they fucking got treated when they were in that organization as well too. The time is up. Jerry has to fucking get away from this team. And it's not going to happen next year anytime soon, because I know it is. Jerry's going to stay there until, I don't know, till the end of time, until when his time is over. But I'm just saying, like, it's just everywhere the organization is getting heat all over the place, and we're definitely like the laughing stock. Obviously there's other teams that are laughing stock, like Oakland and whatnot. I'm not going to get too much into that, but I'm just saying, like, if you're a free agent, I'm looking at this shit, I'm like, I don't want to fucking sign here. This is just it's going to be a huge fucking dumpster fire if I sign over there.
Well, I'm happy you brought that up, Johnny, because that's one of the points I wanted to make too. Was people were there was like the whole thing with Yaz and TA and him showing that he doesn't care, he doesn't want to be there, him having beef with the pitchers or whatever. It's starting to make me think now, like when the Sox actually land a high name free agent, what's wrong with him? What's his baggage? Like because like we all thought getting Grandal was, oh yeah, he's got a good bat, left-handed, good framer. He had great with. But that's.
Yeah. Go ahead.
But yeah, But now it sounds like he's just a piece of shit in the clubhouse. And then when he was getting questioned earlier today about TA, and he said, "Well, for the All-Star break, no, it's not true. But I do have a cabin on the lake, and I miss my family, and we were trying to get family time together." So it's like, well, you basically just said that, yeah, you wanted to leave early because you weren't aligned. You basically admitted because you wanted family time. So maybe if he's a selfish player and that's all the Sox can get, because they don't want to, not only do they want to give out piece of shit contracts, but because people just don't want to come here. So maybe we're just getting like fucking just the leftovers from from teams who just are passing on free agents. And it makes me, I'm going to start wondering now, like guys that we get, are they really good character guys, or because it seems like everyone we get is just they suck.
Tough to ask about good character guys when you are big free agent signing is SP5.
Yes, 100% my point. I'm really curious to see if Abreu's going to speak up I'm sure he's going to get asked
He
about
did.
it. Oh, he did.
No,
Today?
but I'm saying all these players speak off after the fact. Even Jake Berger, which we didn't talk about because Jake Berger trade feels like a million years ago, and we didn't get to talk about it because it happened Tuesday after we recorded on Monday. Even he said, like, wow, that was like the funnest game I've been a part of in a long time. Like his first game out of Chicago. Abreu said the same thing at the beginning of this season when he landed in Houston, basically saying, like, this is different. I'm having fun. Like everyone that leaves here, even Joe Kelly's had a up and down stint since he went back to the Dodgers, but like they're all different once they leave Chicago. Jason, you had the quote earlier about Pacino. I'm going to use the Scarface one. The womb is polluted. Like the whole thing is polluted.
Yeah. No, but I was curious to see if like people are going to ask Pito now, like if I'm sure there's got to be some reporters going to be like, hey, do you want to comment on any of the White Sox drama? And it'll probably be, no, I don't want to talk about that. He'll probably be, but I hope that he would just fucking name names. I saw someone on Twitter earlier today saying that we need to get Lurie Garcia to spill all the beans since he was like the longest tenured White Sox from the past decade. Peter, your eyes lit up on that.
I had a fake half-assed corny joke, but it was this shit didn't fly when Lurie Garcia was around. Maybe he was the clubhouse captain.
Maybe he was.
We don't know.
Longest tenured, man.
He talked to the English speaking guys. He talked to the Spanish speaking guys. Who knows? Lurie Garcia was the glue of this godforsaken team.
And Sox just beat the Yankees, so
boom, suck it, gabagools.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, when Yaz leaves next season, I hope he goes fucking nuclear, man. I hope I'm sure he's being like little, like semi-professional and just playing politics right now. But I hope when he finally leaves that he just goes fucking nuclear on the team and he just relieves all the dirt. And I'm gonna love it. I want to hear it all. I want everyone to I want people to name names and get it over with, so we can be more of an embarrassment and hopefully force change, because that's the only way it's going to happen.
Yep.
So I know I'm going like way back or whatever, but back to the whole Middleton thing. And I had a little chuckle to myself when I heard Rick Hahn say that like he was apologizing to him and everything. What if last night Middleton was like just telling on himself? He was the guy that missed the meetings. He was the dude that was sleeping, like just total heel turn. Like it was me. I was the bad guy, but they let me do it.
Man, that would have been funny. Yeah, I was the fucking guy sleeping in the bullpen.
And I would have got away with it if it wasn't for your meddling kids.
All right. So real quick, we didn't talk about the Burger. We got the guy. Burger was traded at the trade deadline. They got a guy, left-handed pitcher from the Marlins, Jake Eater, however you want to say his name, 24-year-old. Hey, he came back from Tommy John, so that's the Rick Hahn special, guys. Got to get them pitchers with rehabbed arms. But he's a highly regarded.
What's up? Not the Rick Hahn special. Not the Rick Hahn special.
Oh, that's right. It's a Kenny Williams special.
It's a Kenny Williams special because Rick Hahn had no talks with the GM from the Marlins. I mean, if that's
no one knows who's in charge.
That's crazy.
But yeah, highly regarded pitching prospect. I think he's in Double-A right now, so we'll see how he progresses. So that's going to wrap up our nearly hour-long White Sox talk here. We got some other couple segments we're going to do. We said we might go long today because we had a lot to talk about today, man. So we'll do it. We don't really have any ads, but we have an ad for our bourbon. Peter, I saw you have the slide. Why don't you give us the tasting notes for our brand new Knob Creek single barrel rye pick exclusively at CD Liquors in Bolingbrook?
Yeah. So I'm not blowing smoke up your ass when I say this is a fantastic Knob Creek pick. Most Knob Creek picks around the Chicagoland area are good. They're levels of good. But what I like about this, and I talked to, shout out John, the Dram Daddy, Bums in the Bleachers. You can catch that tomorrow morning at 9 p.m. on the YouTube. It's not like a Jim Beam product, which is why I like it so much. You still get a little bit of the Jim Beam nuttiness to it, but in the form of like a dessert. I call this a dessert whiskey. It's like peanut M&Ms and caramel, a lot of molasses. I get a bunch of oak. And what I like about it the most is that it comes in waves. The beginning is very desserty, and then the finish is just classic 120 proof bourbon punch of black pepper and oak and the tannins, and almost like there's like a little bit of a drying aspect, which I like in my bourbon. So yeah, if you guys are interested, obviously run out to CD Liquors or hit us up in the DMs. And I'm also interested in everyone else's notes, because John gave me his tasting notes. He gets a little bit of like dried red fruit to it. And he talked about there being like a big butterscotch wave. God damn it, SBF. But yeah, I get butterscotch in there. He got it a lot more than I do. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. I can't wait for everyone to try it. I know we've just barely started getting the deliveries out, and I got a list of people I got to deliver to this week. So you get your bottles. Let me know what you taste. Let me know what you think of the bottle, and share it on Instagram, share it on Twitter. We can't thank you guys enough.
Yes, we thank everyone. We love you guys for supporting us, and we got more stuff coming down the pipeline. So stay tuned. All right, gonna talk a little. I feel like we're going 10 o'clock, so might as well do some bums after dark here. Oh, let's keep it up there. Okay, so we're gonna talk a little Bears notes here. It won't be too long, and then we're gonna talk some Lala, and then we got some beer talk and some couple questions here. So, okay, so Bears training camps in full gear. First preseason game is this Saturday. I'm excited. I'm very excited, even though it's first preseason. But it's football. It's Bears football's back, baby, and you can't get excited enough. So the big news of the week: Bears made two big signings. Mercedes Lewis, 39-year-old tight end, former of the Packers. He's going to just be on a one-year deal, but he's primarily your blocking tight end. But the other big signing was defensive end Yannick Ngakoue. Am I saying that right? I have no idea. Did I get it right, Peter?
Close enough. I've been waiting like 4 days for that pronunciation. I love the Jason head bum in charge pronunciations.
Yeah.
Yannick Ngakoue.
Wait, say it again.
Ngakoue.
Okay. Ngakoue. There we go. 1 year, $10.5 million contract.
Hand up. I've also had a bunch of bourbon. I might not be right. I'm usually good with the pronunciations. Might not be right now.
Yeah, this is hitting really good right now. It's hitting good right now.
It is Ngakoue. I knew it was Ngakoue. You got me.
Ngakoue.
You got me.
All right, Ngakoue. All right, 1 year, $10.5 million contract. He's had 19.5 sacks over the last two seasons, so basically 20 or 10 sacks a year. Played with the Colts last season, so he's very familiar with Eberflus's system. So yeah, let's go, man. We need some guys who are good in the system. We need a defensive end. I'm very excited. Before the only question I got for you guys is what are you looking forward to for the first preseason game? And I'll go with me. I'm looking forward to seeing how the running back situation plays out, because with Khalil Herbert and then Deontay Foreman and then Rashawn Johnson.
It's preseason.
Yeah, preseason,
yeah.
man.
Well,
I'll get these names by week one.
He'll get it.
How is he going to be? Is he going to be the new future every down back? Is he going to be a lot? What's he with him? 4th round rookie. So that's what I'm looking forward to on Saturday.
Yeah. It's tough to break down preseason games. I know, Jason, you're a big get these guys minutes. I really don't care one way or another. But I'm excited about Ngakoue. You mentioned it, 9.5 sacks last season, 21 forced fumbles in the last 3 years. He's had 8 sacks or more in every season he's played. And the Bears last year, their sack leader was Jaquan Brisker, a safety, with all of 4 sacks. So this was desperately needed. Like, this type of player was desperately needed. We needed somebody. And to be transparent, I think they were transparent. He's not a run stopper. Like, he's not going to play every down, but he's very, very good at what he does, which is rush the quarterback and get sacks. That's what we need. I'm really excited to see, not only in preseason, but this revamped Bears defense. Tremaine Edwards was Edwards. Jesus Christ, was a good signing.
See, our bourbon will
120 proof might be a problem. We might have to cut it down during the BumCast. And then Jason, you mentioned it. It sounds like, and this is according to Greg Braggs, it sounds like Dante Foreman is getting a lot of the pass catching reps. So he might be the guy where Justin Fields bails out, throws it to him. And it sounds like Roschon Johnson is getting a lot of the red zone reps. So anything inside the 20 might be Roschon Johnson time.
Yeah. So we'll have to ask our fantasy football gurus.
So that's where I was going to get to. It sounds like it's going to be a full-blown running back by committee in Chicago, which I'm cool with as a Chicago Bears fan. As a fantasy football player, you might want to stay away for a little while.
Yeah. Yeah. Guys, Johnny, Dougie, real quick, I need some thoughts on some Bears.
Go, John.
Yeah. So the first preseason game, you're not really going to see that much of like anything that you're hoping for. But I mean, I just want this offensive line to protect Justin Fields. That's like my number one thing as well too. I feel a little bit more comfortable with the defense right now, especially with the signing that we got. But it's just this offensive line. I got to see a little bit more of it protecting Justin Fields. Like obviously, like we know we could do with his feet and whatnot. He could run, but I don't want him to do that. He's got weapons now. He's got wide receivers. I've heard that Claypool is having a really good training camp. But then again, this is training camp. What are you gonna do? How are you gonna progress going into like these preseason games, and let alone week one, and then I'm beyond as well too. The offensive line is like the number one thing for me right now. I just want to make sure that, hey, we could protect Justin Fields and whatnot. I've heard that, so far they're having a pretty good training camp right now. But again, let's see what you could do, when it comes to like these preseason games and beyond.
Johnny, I have an offensive line note for you from the preseason. It sounds like Alex Leatherwood has moved to the inside, and he's running with the second team at left guard. He's basically spelling Tevin Jenkins. When they signed him last year off of free agency after he got cut by the Raiders, I thought this was a low risk, high reward type of thing because he had the pedigree. He had the pedigree as a first round draft pick by the Raiders. He never put it together with the Raiders. He came to the Bears, got mono right away. Congrats on kissing girls, Alex Leatherwood, making out like a fifth grader. But then he never really put it together. But he has the pedigree. I think, this might be last chance saloon for Alex Leatherwood. So we need all the offensive line depth that we can. If he is able to spell Tevin Jenkins for a little while, because we know he has a history of the bad back, the bad neck. You gotta have to keep him fresh because at the end of last year, he looked really good. So all of this offensive line depth is going to go a long way in the main thing of protecting Justin Fields.
Yeah. Dougie, want to close us out with Bears?
Yeah. Echo your guys' thing. I'm a big guy. Since the draft, that was my main focus. So that's what I'm looking to see. But that first preseason game, even going into that second preseason game, I'm just getting the juices flowing to seeing my team logo flying around and everything like that. I don't weigh too much on it, and I just I'm like just getting into those feels where I'm not going to do shit on Sundays from here on out. So,
yep, we're locked in for the next 6 months.
One other thing, man, we love you, Mongo. Hope
Yeah.
Hell yeah! I know you're fighting. So prayers, man, to you.
So I have some breaking news here, guys. Happened over the wire about a half hour ago. Tim Anderson was removed from the game with a bruised left forearm. X-rays were negative. So not only did he get knocked the fuck out, he hurt his arm by punching Ramirez.
Take a couple. He's gonna have that 6-game suspension. I'm sure they're appealing. Yeah, take a breather. Take a couple 2-3 days off.
I thought he got hit by Garrett Cole.
I
think he got hit by a pitch.
I know. I'm just being being me saying that he got hurt from punching, because that would be a very White Sox thing, getting hurt. Like Eloy would probably break his hand by punching someone. All right, let's move on here. Johnny, you wanted to talk about some Lollapalooza, and
Yes,
I
yes.
said, I don't really have anything to contribute. But then you said, not so fast, muchacho. You have something you wanted to. You sent me something, and I was going to comment on it. So
I sent you all you guys something. So, Lollapalooza. I know, once again, bunch of people over there, or whatnot. I was watching some of the stuff on Hulu, and some of the stuff I'm like, okay, like I never heard of this artist before or whatnot. But there was one particular one that kind of caught my eye, and it was stuff because Peter and Jason, we used to go out to clubbing all the time. We used to go to clubbing all the time. And to me, like some of the music that we would listen to was kind of exactly what I sent you. And the name of the band is called Subtronics. And it seems like they're very club-like type of music and whatnot. Going through all these artists and going through everything, obviously, there's there's a lot of artists I do know, but there's some stuff that I'm just like, I had this like thing where, and I know a lot of us watch Simpsons, like, and there was this episode with Lollapalooza where, he's trying to resonate with his kids about, the music that, hey, I used to listen to Grand Funk Railroad. I used to listen to Led Zeppelin and all that. And they had no idea who the fuck these bands were, that the kids, they didn't know who they were. So like he went to a record shop and he was like looking at, Sonic Youth at the time. This was back in 96, Sonic Youth, Nine Inch Nails and all that. And he was like, I had no idea who any of these bands are. That's how I kind of felt when I'm looking at with Lollapaloozas right now. And I don't know if it's to me, I love music. I love music. A lot of people, I love music. I got a full library of vinyl records and I'm just a music lover. I don't know if I got to that point. I'm 40 years old. I don't know if I got to that point finally in my life where I'm Homer Simpson now and I'm kind of starting to get out of touch with music. So I asked you guys this question as far as what I sent you guys. Like I said, it's Subtronics. I don't know if we have any young people in this chat or not, but what were your thoughts about what I sent you guys?
Period. Would you like to start? Because I
do want to not to call you out, Johnny, because you are a lover of music. You have a wide depth of music, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. But it stopped when you were like in high school. I don't think you've listened to a new band since 1997, my man. You don't listen to new music.
No. Stop.
I'm talking.
No. I'm gonna fuck that. I'm gonna defend myself here.
Like from 1975.
No. That's not true, man. I do listen to a lot of new music. That's not true, man. So stop saying that shit. I do love a lot of new music, and there's a lot of good artists out there that I do love. What I'm saying is that what I sent you guys, like I said, I don't know if it's because I'm getting to that point of age where I think that I don't know if I'm losing my touch with club music. Like, no, that's why I was asking. Like,
it's not good. Subtronic was not good. Jason, even up to like our early 30s, I was a fan of like dubstep, like Skrillex and all that. It's changed. Now, I watched like 30 minutes of the videos you sent me, Johnny. It's just noise. It's just like if I get a couple of drops, like viral video drops, like it could be like Paul Heyman yelling or something like that. That's all it is. They add drops every like minute to get the crowd crazy. And then it's just noise. And it's mostly like the lights and the smoke and the theatrics. Some of that stuff is really good still to this day. We saw Avicii live, RIP. That was amazing. This Subtronic stuff made no sense. It's just noise.
Yeah, look, you guys know I used to promote, and I promoted up until 2014. So I was 32. That sounds about right. Doing the maths. 32, 33 is when I stopped. Towards the end there is like when really dubstep started to make its way onto the scene. I still listen to club music. I have on my on my list of podcasts, it's like a lot of like Mark Knight and Chus and Sabalo,
Cedric
Yeah.
Sabalos.
No.
I have no idea who these people are.
Yeah. I do a lot of like house stuff. Robbie Rivera. The stuff nowadays is too much brr, womp 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 womp. It's a lot of now I want to say it's all manufactured sound, but it's just random stuff put together. And I've seen people go to the Electric Forest, and they show Snapchats, and it's just there's house music. Chicago was the originator for house music. House music was born in Chicago, man. Like, and then you got your variations of house. You got your deep house, your tech house, your electro house. This shit is just fucking just people going boop 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 on a keyboard and some kind of computer program, just putting random sounds together and hoping it sounds right. And then you got just fucking a bunch of tweaked out 19-year-olds on Molly going.
That's the point.
Yep, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like, there is no way. Like, I listened to like maybe 5 minutes of it. It's never been my style of music. But then again, I've never fucking popped a pill to feel good. So maybe if I did, maybe I'd get into it. I don't know.
Like at the same time, and Sunday night too. And Johnny, I can't remember. Was that video you sent? Was that from Sunday night or was that from?
That was for Friday night.
Okay, Friday night.
Yeah.
Because like Sunday night, Gorgon City closed. Like was playing on Lollapalooza, and Gorgon City does like really fucking awesome like London style house music, and that's if I was going to Lollapalooza, that's where I would spend my money. I'd buy a 1-day ticket just to go see Gorgon City. That's if you want to see like what good like club music is, go pop their sets on, and it's a night and day difference from the brr, womp, 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 and just a bunch of fucking tweaked out fucking 18, 19-year-olds who don't know what the fuck.
That's the thing. That was Dougie made the perfect point. Is we don't do enough drugs to like that music. We're not drug guys. We're bourbon guys.
Like I said, I want to get back
guys.
to like I said, I was watching some of the stuff. I liked Fred again. I thought there was a lot of good stuff that he was putting out. There was just other stuff that I'm just like, okay, this is not that bad, but when I saw that, I'm just like, I don't know if I just lost touch with music as far as like if I'm getting to that point where I'm getting older, I'm just like, this is too much noise for me to this point. Like I got to that Homer Simpson part in my life. I'm just like, fuck, am I there finally? But I like I said, this is why I brought this to your attention, because we used to go out clubbing a lot, and to me, I just felt like this was not music at all. This is not something like I would enjoy, but to Dougie's and everybody else is like, I'm pretty sure everybody was popping pills at that time when that music was going out. So
oh yeah, 100%. Everyone at that set was high on something.
Oh yeah,
and if you weren't, that means you already had your come down and you didn't want to you go to the back or something.
Dude, the 5 minutes that I actually watched, there was one dude that like they showed twice, and I'm pretty sure he lost feeling of his jaw because his mouth was just open the entire time. Like tongue looked dry as fuck,
No,
we're just gonna keep making Simpsons memes. It's lick a frog.
Yeah. If everyone wants some good like house podcasts, hit me up. I'll give you some good stuff. Then it won't be any of that trash that they were playing over there the other day. All right. We got two quick things, and then we're gonna bump some people. First off, I had a question of the week, and I said it was kind of a more nonsense question here. My brother-in-law recently had my future brother-in-law recently had a birthday, and they posted pictures when he went out, and he went to Medieval Times, and I was surprised that place was even still around. I thought that was more of like a 80s, early 90s thing, and I was more being shocked that Medieval Times is still there. And I want to know, am I out of touch? Like, is Medieval Times still like good? Is there people like I'm thoroughly surprised with people who still go to this at a weekly basis. Like, what is there still? Am I missing something? Is there a draw still to Medieval Times? Like, what am I missing here, guys?
Wait, hold on. I got to stop you for a second. So, is your future brother-in-law? Is this something that he likes?
I would think so. I mean, if he chose it to go to for his birthday, and I'm not knocking it. I'm not knocking him for liking it. That's not my thing. I'm just saying, is it am I like not with it to the fact that I don't know that this is still? I thought it was outdated and done, and I was surprised. I was actually surprised it's still around. It's like when you find out your celebrity you thought was dead is still like, oh wait, he's not dead. It's like, oh wait, like medieval times is still a thing. Like, I'm not knocking him for liking it because I like a lot of weird shit too. But I want to know from you guys, like, do you know like people who still go to medieval times? Do you know why it's popular still? Like, why it survived for all these years?
I just like the fact that the last 15 minutes has just been us asking different variations of, are we out of touch? Are we losing it? I mean, medieval times is basically what I would think it's keeping it alive is the field trip. I remember going there as a school thing, like a school thing. I'm sure they get a bunch of field trips during the week, during school season that keeps them going. And then the birthday parties. I know it's popular in some circles. I've never been, I probably haven't been there in 30 years or so. But I would like if it was your birthday, if Dougie's birthday's at medieval times, let's drink some mead, have some chicken, watch some knights fight. I'm cool with it, man. That sounds just like like I have no.
Let's plan it.
If it's not good or bad, it just sounds cool. Like, yeah, like you want to go bowling? Yeah, whatever. I'm gonna go drink playing bowling. I could drink at medieval time. Basically, if I can drink there, I'm going.
Okay.
So in December, I actually went to medieval times.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
They had like a special thing for like winter break for kids, and it was like discounted tickets and stuff like that. And we decided, hey, we're gonna go. I got drunk as shit and had the time of my life. It was fucking awesome.
Okay,
dude. So like we were sitting like in the second row. I am yelling at the other knights the entire time. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go Black Knight. And I'm like, just every time another knight would come, be like, you suck. I was probably ruining everybody else's time, but I had a fucking fantastic time.
This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're tailgating pre-show at medieval times, and then we're gambling during the show on the various knights and jousts and horses.
BumCast 200 at medieval times.
Hell yeah. Group outing.
Hold on, I saw Senior's comments right now. He's been talking about Studio 63, but we've been switching around to medieval times. I saw this one comment that says Pop. I don't know if you could pull it up. Yeah. Pop Ecstasy once and the chick bailed on me. I ended up giving myself hickeys. Not my proudest moment. Was this at Studio or was this at medieval times?
Yeah, good point. This is another way we're washed. We're talking about Studio that doesn't exist.
A hickey? Like, do you give yourself an arm hickey? Like, what do you?
I mean,
what do you do there? Like,
Senior is very flexible. Maybe he did the Marilyn Manson thing and removed some ribs. Who knows?
Allegedly. Okay, so it sounds like medieval times is still popular among the people. So okay.
After Studios,
it was fun. That's all it was. It was fun.
All right.
We got to do a field trip now.
We'll do a field trip. I think that'll be a great idea, and maybe I'll see why it's still popular amongst our people our age. Okay, next one is finally right up Dougie's alley. The new Bourbon County Stout lineup has been released. Coming out on Black Friday. We got the first one is the Bourbon County Stout brand. They're obviously their flagship beer, our barrel stout. This one is finished in Buffalo Trace, Heaven Hill, Four Roses, and Wild Turkey barrels. So that sounds very good for a year. We have a Eagle Rare 2-year reserve stout. So this one was finished in Eagle Rare barrels for 2 years. Pretty interesting stuff there. We got a Angel's Envy 2-year finish. So they took Angel's Envy, aged it for a year in Angel's Envy, then they aged it for a year in Ruby Port wine barrels. They have a Bananas Foster stout, which is very intriguing. A Backyard Stout, which is mulberry, boysenberry, marionberry, chuckberry, and snozberries. It's their backyard rye, and then their proprietor stout. So yeah, all this stuff is dropping the day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and I want to know which one sounds most appealing to you guys. Are you, Johnny? You're shaking your head. Dougie, I know you're a stout guy, so
we'll let Dougie go first. Let the expert go.
Yeah, definitely the Eagle Rare the Angel's Envy and the Bananas Foster for sure.
Okay.
Every year they do a funky fucking flavor, which is going to be this backyard stout berry shit that's going to be fucking terrible. It happens every year. What I am hoping that they do is 2 years ago with the regular Bourbon County, they did Easter eggs. And so on the back of the label, they actually had the barrels that they used. They did single barrel stuff. So you had to look for a Wild Turkey, little WT on the back. You had to look for, I think they did Blanton's that year, and I think Heaven Hill. So you had to look for the HH, and those ones cut above the rest and for the same price too. So, yeah. So basically, those three, I'll always get myself an OG. Proprietor, has been very hit or miss lately.
Yeah, I didn't like last year's Proprietor.
Yeah, it was fucking garbage. It was terrible. But yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll do the first four. I mean, maybe I'll try a sample. Usually like Chuck's and Darien, they usually have like their Bourbon County nights, so I'll try to go try the Backyard Stout and the Proprietor there. But I'll definitely be getting the Eagle Rare and the Angel's Envy for sure. Then
for sure.
So that's the problem with now, like the bourbon hype, basically, is that those things go so fast they're almost impossible to find. Like, do you think an Eagle Rare finished Bourbon County is any different than a regular bourbon finished?
No.
You do think so, Dougie? I mean, you're the expert. I'm asking. I have one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got this one sitting here. I haven't had for like a year. Jason, you got me this.
I did.
I haven't opened it because it's like
that's really good. That's really good. It's not as good as the first year that they did it, and I think it was 2017. But yeah, that second, I believe that's a toasted barrel, right? The double barrel toasted barrel.
Yeah, the toasted barrel.
But yes, so I had got my hands on one of the Blanton's ones that they did, and that was fucking super cool. It came in like a Blanton's bag, and it had like the little horse on a little keychain on the bottle itself. So that was really cool, and it tasted worlds apart. It was actually one of the best ones for that year that nobody could find. It was really freaking good, and you can tell the difference totally, 100%.
Okay. Well, I'll try to get a few and then do a stout off or something, or just get a Modelo.
Right here. It's right here, baby.
I look forward to Dougie chugging a Bourbon County stout in 3.5 seconds.
You got it.
All right, we almost went an hour and a half, guys. It's finally time to bum some people.
I think he's a bum. I think he's an absolute bum.
Because you're training like a damn bum, you know that? Bum. A bum.
A bum. All right. Johnny, you are kicking us off today.
I almost forgot my MVPs because I've been drinking this 120 proof of
this thing's gonna knock us on our ass week in and week out for a while.
Hey, I'm back. So, anyways, my MVP. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna start off with my what a bum, and it's the Orioles organization for pretty much suspending Kevin Brown. If you guys haven't heard the story, Kevin Brown was putting the stats about basically Tampa Bay's and Orioles statistics through like the years as far as them having a very bad record against the Orioles haven't won any series and whatnot, so it's been very hard. Obviously, the Orioles are doing very good this year, so they've been a lot better. But they pretty much basically suspended him for just putting stats up, and to me, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Where he's just spewing out stats. He wasn't bashing the organization. He wasn't saying anything derogatory. He wasn't doing anything that would make the Orioles look bad. He was just putting out stats. That's how he got suspended. And one of the things is that I love the fact that color commentators around the league are backing up Kevin Brown right now. Jason Benetti just at this game against the Yankees recently said that he was spewing out, stuff that Kevin Brown said, and he was like, "I hope I don't get suspended by the Orioles for saying that," for basically backing up Kevin Brown. Yankees broadcaster Michael Kay went off as well too. Today as well too. The one thing is Gary Cohen was saying on the Mets. Actually, it was the Mets versus the Cubs today. He quoted, let me just say one thing to Baltimore's Orioles management. You draped yourself in humiliation when you fired John Miller, and you're doing it again. And if you don't want Kevin Brown, there are 29 other teams who do. So there's a lot of people that are standing up for this whole thing that's going on with Kevin Brown. I'm sure I don't follow any Orioles organization, but I'm sorry, the Orioles whatsoever, but people are pissed about this, and so are other people in the media as well too. So, the Orioles organization, as good as that you've been so far this year, you dropped the ball on this, man. So you guys are definitely my what a bomb. So my MVB is CD Liquors and the person who was at the cash register at CD Liquors. So when this thing dropped, obviously Jason told us, and I went to the store the very next day. It took me a while to get there with traffic, but I'm not going to even get to that. But when I got there, I had people who Venmo me money, and once again, thank you for the people who Venmo money. As far as the people who wanted to buy all this stuff, I got 8 bottles of bourbon. So when I took those bottles and I put it in the cart, I was walking to the cash register, and you could hear the bottles like pretty much rattling. The face that the cash register, the guy that was working at the cash register, his face was grinning so far up like the fucking Joker that it was like he could see, like I could see like a cartoon, like cash money signs just kind of literally coming out of his fucking eyeballs. He was so happy that I bought all this stuff that it was so funny. The people that were like standing in line waiting to pay for their stuff, they saw that I had 8 bottles of bourbon, and one of the guys was just joking around with him. He's like, "Oh, are you having a party or something?" So I mean, just the whole experience is just buying those bottles, and the people who bought them, once again, thank you for buying those bottles for us as well too. But the guy's face was just priceless. I wish I would have recorded it, but obviously that would be kind of creepy. But but like I said, his face was definitely just like, he's like, "You're buying all these bottles?" I'm like, "Yeah, just ring it up." So the guy at the cash register, you're in my MVP, and also CD Liquors as well too. So we appreciate you once again. So
good stuff. Good stuff. Dougie, you're up next.
All right. So I'm going to do this a little weird. I'm going to go bum, MVB, back to bum. So I'm going to start off with a really quick bum. First one goes off, and I saved my reaction to the whole Tim Anderson thing. First reaction, as soon as I get on Twitter, Sox on 35th. Bums. Fucking bums. Because, you know what? Their fucking title of the whole thing was Tim out here throwing haymakers. Well, he got folded. He got folded. You know, like, don't be a homer. Just play it as it is. I love you guys. Bums. MVB goes out to Peter and Julie for hosting on Saturday. It was awesome. I needed it. I've been working my ass off lately, and it was nice to come and have a couple drinks and chuck it up with you guys, and it was awesome. Bum of the week goes out to White Castle. So I stopped at White Castle ahead of time, and I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to do the right thing, because White Castle is notoriously shitty for like promptness and servedness and everything like that. So I was like, hey, I'm going to order these things online. And I have a timeline written down. 6 p.m. I place the order for a pickup for 6:25. Okay. I get there at 6:37. I wait. There's nobody else in line, nobody else in the store. There's 2 cars in the drive-thru. I wait till 6:45 to be helped. So no big deal. Then they reach over to the thing. They grab my receipt and they're like, oh shit, we didn't start your order yet. I'm like, it's 6:45. The order was placed 45 minutes ago, and they haven't even started on my order. So I said, all right, that's fine. I'm like, do your thing. I'm like, I'm going to go grab some gas. I'll be back and everything like that. I'm like, how much time you need? They're like, oh, just 10 minutes. Cool. I walk in, 7:05. They're still not done. Finally, 7:10. get my shit and go. But White Castle, bum of the week. Get your shit together. It's the 21st century. If somebody's doing a mobile order, god damn it, fucking fill it.
I told you on Saturday, they made your shit. You just picked it up 13 minutes late. They gave away all your warm sliders.
Could happen.
It could happen.
All right, Peter, you're next.
All right. Well, I'm glad you told that story, Dougie, because I have you as my MVP. We had plans to get together, watch the fights, and I text you guys. I was like, hey, we could just, I had like appetizers, but we're like, we'll just order pizzas when everyone gets here, or we could just order food. And you brought dinner basically for everyone. You bought two handles of sliders, and it was awesome. So you're my MVP for basically feeding us. My bum of the week is myself for eating the White Castle because I knew what it was going to happen. Those jalapeno sliders are jalapeno cheese sliders are so damn good. And I'm going to leave you guys, or I'm going to give you guys a peek behind the curtain. Julie, I know you're listening. We got the Bums After Dark logo. There was plans post visits of us, mom and dad, being nice with each other. That definitely didn't happen because I basically fumigated all of the upstairs, like the bathroom, the bedroom, the hallway. It was I smoked it out. My family basically had to sleep downstairs because it was so bad. Those damn jalapeno sliders. Dougie, so you're my MVP, but you're also my bum of the week, and me as well, because it was so bad. I know every time it happens, they're so good, but I can't. I have to eat them.
You missed a perfect opportunity for gas mask foreplay, son of a bitch.
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry. This is our Dougie's fault. All right, and then my next MVP, it's right on brand. I'm going to talk a little bit of soccer right now. The FIFA Women's World Cup has been awesome. The games, all across the board, the group stage games, now the knockout round games. There's a bunch of underdog stories. There's 3 teams from Africa that had never made it to the knockout round. England, of all people, England have a terrible history with penalty kicks, make it and go to penalties and win. Australia, the host country, is basically looks unstoppable right now, and they just got their best player back, Sam Kerr. So there's a bunch of really good stories in the Women's World Cup. But my bum of the week is our team, the United States Women's National Team. Not necessarily the women themselves. It's Vlatko Adanovsky, the head coach, and the people in charge of making this roster, because it's a roster construction issue, just like the White Sox. They basically Rick Hahn this damn thing. They had too many veterans that weren't good enough. They didn't bring enough young talent. They basically didn't bring enough forwards. They had an older Alex Morgan playing on spaghetti legs, like we talked about earlier. And the problem with this team, or I guess not the problem, but the biggest strength the women's national team has is their depth. Their bench players can go toe-to-toe with everyone else in the world. They didn't make any subs. Throughout the whole tournament, he wouldn't make subs until the 90th minute or extra time or anything like that. Like, what are you guys doing? I didn't understand their tactics, and I didn't understand their rationale between not playing anybody. So my bum of the week is Vlatko Adanovsky and the United States Women's National Team. Not specifically the players, but the people in charge.
And I'll piggyback off you, Peter. My bum of the week is the start times for those women's soccer games, because I'm not getting up at 4 a.m. or 2 a.m. to watch it. Like, come on, I know it's in New Zealand, Australia, but you gotta figure it in my time, dude. All right, I'm not conforming to fucking New Zealand time or anything like that. You gotta go for where the money markets are, and it's not Europe, it's me. Okay, so I want a nice 7 p.m. start time. Make it happen.
I have a stat for you. They basically set up the tournament for the United States Women's National Team. If they won their group stage, they would have primetime games. The problem was they came in second, and then they had to play it at 4 a.m. Their first knockout stage game would have been 9 p.m. but they lost. So don't blame them. Blame my guy, Vlatko Ananovsky, for not getting out of the group stage in first place.
Bums all around. Bums all around.
Exactly.
And then finally close this out here. My MVP of the week is Cousin John, aka the Dram Daddy. Thank you for hooking me up with that nice bottle of Shanks that popped up at Malloy's last week. I was at the gym raining down some threes on these kids, and I saw the alert come through that the postcard. I wasn't gonna make it there in time to get that Shanks, and he went up and got it for me. So shout out to Cousin John, the Dram Daddy, for and our, I guess, like podcast co-hosts, co-podcast spot host, whatever you want to call it. I don't know how you want to word it.
So listen to Bum and the Bleachers, subscribe, follow them on Instagram and Twitter. They recorded tonight. The podcast is dropping on YouTube and everywhere else tomorrow morning. But they're calling us the podcast Godfathers. So what would that be for them? Nephews?
They would be like our. They would be
children.
Godchildren?
If you're talking like in the terms of the Godfather, like they would be our foot soldiers.
I don't think they mean movie wise. I think it's like your Godfather. Consigliere.
Yeah.
I thought they meant it like padrinos. So that would mean we're the God. They're the godchildren. We got to figure something out. That's not the titles we're gonna go with.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's our show. It's an hour for you. We thought 2 hours because of all the Sox talk today, but thank you guys for sticking with us today. A lot of Sox drama. We hope that this is the last. We're gonna have to really talk and break down the Sox for the rest of the season. But like I said, we got 2 weeks from now our fantasy football spectacular with John Dabari, and I believe Johnny said we're also getting
Dave Kluge.
Dave Kluge. Yeah, yes. He's going to be joining us as well. So we got a tag team fantasy gurus joining us. Make sure you go get our Knob Creek bottle if you don't already have one. And if you do, grab a backup, as we mentioned. Whiskey at Comiskey, August 26th. And guys, we love you. See you next week. Go Bears.
Yes, go
Bears.
Now Hosey and Anderson square